Virgil. We're having dinner with Kirk Blackheart at the table in Darkstar Keep with Kirk, Darian, Drogon. Well, that's who I'm role-playing at the moment. What about you?
Rafgar and his wife, Sharla.
Death Knights.
Death Knights. Rah. Rah.
Solaris, no longer Van Rodan, now Van Raudon. Again. And Rochi Pierto!
And I'm playing Yarkaz Dunwich and Telmir.
This will be interesting.
Who's Telmir again?
Telmir is Revan.
Oh yeah.
Renamed, so he's not stealing from everything.
The weird thing about Telmir is even with the him being basically skeletal completely with glowy eyes, it's not really weirding anyone at the table out, and that's kind of a sad thing.
So, says Rochi, remind me again, what exactly are you? I mean, obviously the undead thing is coming out pretty strong, but...
Oh, I'm not actually undead.
Yeah,
The classification is deathless.
Potato, tomato.
Well, positive energy does its thing on me, but negative energy hurts, so... deathless, not undead.
You still don't have any organs, though, do you?
No. Let the eyes count. Do eyes count?
What is that?
That appears to be a very hungry Death Knight. I put your fingers around him.
No need to tell me twice.
Like even Sharla and Marafgar over here are afraid of you.
Everyone was...
They're like, I don't want to fuck with him. At all.
Even when I was a giant...
I can hear you over the country.
Even when I was a giant undead bug, that would have disgusted me.
Drogon in a nutshell.
That was disgusting.
Drogon has
That's Marafgar.
says the dwarf barbarian one in the dwarf Death Knight barbarian in a kilt.
Bit off a dick.
Oh, the Crimson Moth silk robes that everyone has?
Yeah.
Trishkella made those.
Yay. I did?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Because we figured if anyone in the party could do it, the Fat Totem could.
I even had the sewing needle.
Mm-hmm.
On my sheet. So,
Want to
Darian.
describe everyone else before we get to what he was about to say to Darian? Well, let's just do it as they come up. You're talking to Darian. Darian's sitting there. He's a lighter-skinned black man, half desert elf. 20 years, going bald, just the sides, gray hair now. He's about 120 something. He's nearing the end of his life. He's very old and sitting there in gold Arcan robes, which if any of them have a lot of knowledge arcana, at least Alaris would know this. The gold Arcans, they each have basically the same kind of robes, but they all have specific differences between the Arcans. Mostly elbow and wrist, the trimmings are different colors, and his are a deep blue, like a blue dragon's scales. So he matches Yarkaz.
Yay!
His fruity ass outfit.
So, Darian, how do you enjoy the food?
How do I enjoy the food? How do I enjoy much of anything around you?
Oh, come now. There's no need for the same hatred you once bore me.
You made colorful neon penises float around my head that said murderer. When I was in every right to kill that man.
Yes, he was a douchebag.
My entire family had just died, and he was attacking them.
As I said, douchebag. But you did murder him because of words. If he had actually been, I don't know, desecrating their corpses, I would have understood. However, I do admit that
Ornisbergian standards. I don't follow them.
I could have handled it better. We should have just talked that night and you could have argued your perspective without me having to do that. Did I ever mention I was sorry I did that?
No.
Well, I'm sorry.
And as far as it goes, you never have. And never will.
I am sorry.
In one ear and out the other.
You're a stubborn, stubborn old man. And that comes from me.
Elven standards. I do not follow them.
And that's where you remind me of both your mother and your father. Neither one of them ever listened to me. Not that I could blame them 90% of the time. Being a gnome is very hard on one's cognitive abilities.
Darren's going to start ignoring you. Thank you, someone, for addressing him, though, and bringing him in. Unfortunately, it was Solaris, and he does not like Solaris at all.
And Solaris is still weird.
They have a history. Solaris accuses him of being a bad person, and then eats vampires. Solaris standards. No one follows them.
I had no control over my actions at that point. It seemed like a really good idea. Have you ever been on a massive amount of Grimskirkle? Think of thinking in that state.
No, because as a spellcaster, I need to keep my brain cells.
I was a spellcaster too. However, intoxication seemed to have enhanced my powers.
Spellcaster. Spellcaster.
Yes, I have been on a massive amount of Grimskirkle that I recall someone sold to me.
You know what? I don't feel bad about that at all. That was funny. And you kind of deserved it.
My wife just died.
Exactly, you deserved it.
You're not endearing yourself to me at all.
What? I find drinking very helpful when people die who are close to me. I go on a drinking binge, I stab something, I eat a vampire, and then I feel better. That's what I do. Well, except for that last part. I plan never to do that ever again. The bones are very crunchy, they get lodged in the intestines. It's very hard to tap.
Out of character, Darian. Dad, can you kick him out of the house? I don't like him. He's not sleeping in my room. Out of character.
Wow.
Not to mention the aftertaste of burning blood and olives. I'm not sure where the olives come from.
Kirk, as he did when alive, and in the original Corvusberg campaign, is basically considering Solaris with his legs crossed and a bemused smirk. That's halfway between amusement and,
Tell me, I haven't been to the graveyard in a while. How's that going?
Cleanup's been rather brutal.
Brutal as in massive amounts of blood, or brutal as in boring?
Both. Blood, bodies, animated bodies.
I still don't know why you won't come here. I told you, that place is a wreck, and nothing is going to salvage it. Not me, not you, especially not you, pointing at Yarkaz.
My whole purpose for being is the protection of that place.
Well,
What kind of guardian would I be were I to abandon it?
you could come up with a new purpose. Guard someplace else. It's a blight on the land, where even the foppish idiots that inhabit it raise corpses for their butlers. It should be struck from the face of the earth.
You could always burn it. Get enough wizards together. Summon some meteors, and you could start over.
Convince the population to move from their oh-so-beloved city. I've never understood the people who live there, even in my days as priest. Especially how they loved Elric so much, yet hated him at the same time. It made no sense.
No, it did not. But I went with it because it was the best source of money. And because it was the best source of money, and albinos to make fun of. I miss Elric for that. He was always the best butt of a joke.